Sometimes the deepest pain doesn't come with yelling or tears. It arrives quietly, in a message that never gets answered, in a Christmas gift that gets acknowledged weeks later with nothing more than a few empty words. And for Mykelti Brown, one of the last daughters still reaching out when everyone else had already stepped back, that silence finally said everything. Because what we're watching isn't about a forgotten present. It's the slow, heartbreaking breakdown of a father-daughter relationship that she fought harder than almost anyone to save. And the most devastating part? She's still trying to understand why. Today, we need to talk about something that's been unfolding away from the cameras. Not in TLC confessionals. Not in polished interviews. But quietly, on Mykelti's Patreon. It involves a Christmas gift. A grandfather who never calls. And a little girl named Avalon who believes someone else is her grandpa. And this matters, because it exposes exactly where Kody Brown stands right now. Despite the apology tour we've been watching. Despite the tears on Special Forces. Despite the promises to do better. All of it is being tested in real life, by his own daughter. And the results are brutal. Here's what actually happened, because every detail counts. Before Christmas 2024, Mykelti and her children spent weeks creating a handmade scrapbook for Kody. This wasn't a rushed online order. This was time, effort, emotion. She documented the process, choosing photos, pressing her children's handprints onto the pages, writing letters filled with love and hope. The gift arrived at Kody's home on Christmas Eve. And then, nothing. Christmas passed. No call. No text. No acknowledgement. By early January, Mykelti finally reached out. "Hey Dad, did you get it?" Still nothing. She followed up again. Finally, on January 9th, weeks later, Kody replied. He said he received it. He said he liked it. That was it. 3 short sentences for a gift that represented hours of emotional labor. During a Patreon live, Mykelti said something that should hit every parent in the chest. He probably won't be getting one for 2026. And that's when you realize, this wasn't just a scrapbook. Mykelti called it what it truly was, an olive branch. Inside were photos of moments Kody missed. Milestones with his grandchildren. Family gatherings he wasn't there for. Life moving forward without him. She even included a letter addressed to the entire Brown family. And here's the part that hurts the most. No one from Kody and Robin's household responded. Not Kody. Not Robin. Not the older kids still living at home. Total silence. Think about what it takes to make something like that when your relationship with your father is already fractured. Mykelti knew the risk. She knew he might not value it. She did it anyway. Because she was still trying. Still hoping. Still giving him another chance to show up. And he couldn't even manage a phone call. To understand why this moment matters so much, you have to understand who Mykelti has been in this family. She was the loyal one. When her siblings pulled away, she stayed. When others stopped calling, she kept trying. She defended Robin publicly. She invited Robin to attend the birth of her twins via Zoom. She kept Kody and Robin involved in her children's lives, even as she watched her father disappoint her siblings again and again. For years, Mykelti tried to be the peacemaker. And that kind of role? It drains you. Christine has shared that part of the reason Mykelti and Tony moved to North Carolina in 2024 was pure exhaustion. Emotional burnout from holding everyone together. What most people don't realize is this. Kody knew they were leaving. Mykelti told him directly. She urged him to visit before the move. He didn't. Later, Kody claimed it was a scheduling issue. That plans changed. That things didn't line up. But Mykelti's version tells a different story. She made it clear, this is your chance. And he didn't take it. Then, months later, in December 2025, Kody flew to North Carolina, not to see his kids, but to film an on-camera apology with Yanel. 4 of his children live in that state. That's over 20% of his kids. He was there. And according to Mykelti, he didn't contact a single one of them. No call. No text. No email. She said she would have driven over 3 hours to see him, if he had just asked. But he didn't. He flew in, filmed his scene, and flew straight back to Robin. Meanwhile, on our screens, we're watching a completely different narrative. Kody breaking down on special forces, taking accountability, calling himself the problem, crying over his failures as a father. It looks like growth. But Mykelti sees something else. She admitted that when she watches him on special forces, part of her thinks, maybe I should call him. And then reality hits. Because she knows that call would open a conversation he still isn't ready to have. Especially when you compare what Kody said on special forces to what he said later. In a November 2025 interview, he walked it all back. He admitted he only took full responsibility because that's what he thought the military staff wanted to hear. Suddenly, his ex-wife shared the blame. Suddenly, his children's trash talk was the real problem. And that's the pattern. Accountability when it looks good. Deflection when it gets uncomfortable. Mykelti has confronted him directly. She's told him exactly how he hurt her. And every time she says the same thing happens, he calms down, takes some responsibility, then blames someone else. There's always a but. Tony summed it up perfectly. He said Kody has too much pride to truly step down and be vulnerable. Kody treats his adult children like peers who need to negotiate with him. But they don't need a peer. They need a father. And nowhere is that more painful than with Avalon. Mykelti revealed that her daughter doesn't know who her grandpa is. Kody doesn't call. He doesn't visit. He doesn't show up. So when Avalon sees Christine and David, the grandparents who are present, that's who she recognizes. There was even a moment on Sister Wives where Tony referred to Kody by his first name in front of Avalon. Not Grandpa. Just Kody. Robin corrected him. But the truth had already slipped out. Avalon knows David as her grandfather. Because David shows up. Kody is just a name. Distance isn't the excuse Kody wants it to be. He travels when he wants to. He's been spotted at airports countless times. And even without travel, FaceTime exists. Video calls exist. He could be present if he chose to be. He just doesn't. And that choice has consequences. Mykelti has finally reached her limit. She's made it clear. No reconciliation unless Kody works on his relationships with all of her siblings. No more being used as proof that he's a good father. No more crumbs labeled as love. She's protecting herself. And she's protecting her children. Because somewhere in Arizona, that scrapbook is likely sitting on a shelf. And 3,000 miles away, a little girl is calling another man grandpa. And that tells you everything. Some heartbreaks don't come with shouting or tears. They come quietly. A message that never gets a reply. A gift sent with love, and returned with nothing but emptiness. For Mykelti Brown, that quiet moment finally answered a question she'd been asking for years. Because this isn't about a Christmas present being ignored. This is about a daughter who kept reaching out long after hope should have run out, and a father who stayed distant anyway. What's happening right now isn't playing out on Sister Wives. It's not part of a dramatic storyline or a TLC edit. It's happening away from the cameras, in real time, on Mykelti's Patreon. And it all starts with a gift meant to heal a broken relationship. In December 2024, Mykelti and her children poured weeks of effort into something deeply personal for Kody. Not a store-bought item. Not a last-minute purchase. They created a handmade scrapbook together. She shared the process openly, carefully choosing photos, pressing her children's handprints into the pages, writing heartfelt notes filled with hope. The package arrived at Kody's house on Christmas Eve. And then, nothing happened. No phone call. No message. No acknowledgement. Christmas came and went. The new year arrived. Still nothing. Eventually, Mykelti broke the silence herself. She sent a simple message asking if he'd received it. No response. She tried again. Finally, weeks later, Kody replied. He confirmed he got the gift. He said he liked it. And that was all. A few short sentences. Sent long after the moment had passed. For something that carried her time, her effort, and her heart. Later, during a Patreon live, Mykelti said a line that landed like a punch. He probably won't be getting one for 2026. And that's when the meaning of the gift becomes clear. This scrapbook wasn't just a present. It was an olive branch. Inside were photos of memories Kody missed. Moments with his grandchildren he wasn't there for. Life continuing, with or without him. She even included a letter meant for the entire Brown family. And here's the part that changes everything. No one from Kody and Robin's household responded. Not Kody. Not Robin. Not the kids still living under their roof. Just silence. Imagine putting yourself out there like that, knowing your relationship is already fragile, knowing rejection is a real possibility. Mykelti knew the risk. She sent the gift anyway. Because she was still trying. Still hoping. Still believing her father might finally show up. And instead, she got silence. That silence said what words never could. Some gifts carry more weight than words. Some people carry more responsibility than they ever asked for. Mykelti Brown has been that person in her family for years. When her siblings pulled away, she stayed. When her father failed, she stayed. When others criticized Robin, she defended her. She tried to hold together a family that was already breaking apart. She became the peacemaker, the glue, the one everyone relied on while she quietly carried the weight. That role isn't easy. It's exhausting. It drains you. Christine has said part of the reason Mykelti and Tony moved to North Carolina in 2024 was because she was worn out from keeping everyone connected while her father refused to show up. But even then, Kody knew they were leaving. Mykelti told him directly that he should see them before the move. He didn't. Months later, in December 2025, Kody flew to North Carolina. He wasn't there to see his kids. He wasn't there to meet the grandchildren who lived just a short drive away. He went there to film an apology with Yanel. 4 of his children lived in that state, over 20% of his kids, and he didn't reach out to a single one of them. No call. No text. No visit. Mykelti said she would have driven over 3 hours just to see him if he had asked. But he didn't. He flew in, filmed his scene, and flew straight back to Robin. Meanwhile, the world watched him on Special Forces, crying, admitting he was the problem, trying to show growth. But that's just performance. Off camera, the patterns continue. Accountability fades. Excuses and blame return. Mykelti sees it clearly. She's confronted him directly, told him what he did wrong, and every time it's the same. Partial responsibility, then shifting the blame. There's always a but. Tony explained it best. Kody's pride won't let him be truly vulnerable. He treats his adult children like peers who need to negotiate for attention, instead of being a father. And nowhere is that absence more obvious than with Avalon. Her daughter doesn't know who her grandpa is. Kody doesn't call. He doesn't visit. He doesn't show up. So Avalon looks to Christine and David, the grandparents who actually care, and she calls them Grandpa and Grandma. Kody is just a name, a fleeting presence. Distance is not the issue. He travels when he wants, FaceTime exists, video calls exist. He could be present. He chooses not to. This is why Mykelti has drawn her line. No reconciliation unless he commits to her siblings. No cherry-picked relationships. No crumbs of attention. If she let him back individually, he would use her as proof that he's a good father while continuing to fail the rest. She refuses to participate in that. She refuses to be part of a lie. She wants all of them, or none of them. That is loyalty, integrity, and boundaries. Even now, she hopes. She watches him on Special Forces and thinks maybe he meant it. She still texts him about gifts. She still creates opportunities for him to do better. Part of her is still the little girl hoping her dad will show up. But she's also a mother now. She sees what real grandparents do. She sees the love David gives her children. Attention, care, presence. And she sees the difference. And that difference cuts deep. Her father chose Robin. Her father chose comfort over family. Every single time. When the scrapbook finally reached Kody, it carried more than photos and handprints. It carried hope. Hours of her life, her love, her trust. And yet, weeks later, his reply boiled down to 3 sentences. Weeks late. Empty. Hollow. That response didn't just dismiss a gift. It dismissed her. It dismissed her effort. It dismissed every attempt she had made to keep her father in her life. That silence spoke louder than any words could. Mykelti knew what she was sending wasn't just a present. It was an olive branch. She was saying, I want us. I want you to show up. I want our family whole again. And he didn't. He couldn't. Meanwhile, her children watched the world differently. Avalon didn't know who her grandfather was. She called David Grandpa, not Kody. She knew love when she saw it, and it wasn't coming from her father. Her siblings felt the absence too. Every milestone, every small victory, every laugh she captured in that scrapbook was a reminder of what he had chosen to miss. Months passed. Kody appeared on camera, giving confessions, showing remorse for the world to see. But the difference between performance and reality could not be clearer. Off camera, the old patterns persisted. Excuses, blame, avoidance, all repeated. The man who could cry on national television could not pick up the phone for his daughter. He could not meet his grandchildren halfway. Mykelti's heart broke, but it also hardened. She realized she had been giving and hoping in a one-sided relationship for too long. She set boundaries. No more gifts. No more reaching out blindly. No reconciliation unless he committed to the whole family, not just the parts convenient for him. And in that moment, the pain hit hardest. The realization that her father had chosen Robin's comfort over his children. Every single time. That scrapbook wasn't just ignored. It symbolized years of absence, neglect, and broken promises. Yet, even as she stepped back, she still hoped. Part of her still longed for the father she remembered, the one who could love without conditions. But another part of her, the mother, the protector of her children, saw the truth. She could not allow her children to experience the same emptiness. She could not let them hope for a grandparent who refused to show up. And somewhere in a house in Arizona, that scrapbook likely sits untouched. Weeks late, glanced at, forgotten. While 3,000 miles away, a little girl calls someone else grandpa, learning firsthand what it means to show up, to care, to love unconditionally. This is the reality Mykelti faces now. Love that is earned only on someone else's terms, a family fractured, and the hard truth that sometimes hope is not enough. And in that realization lies both heartbreak and strength, the courage to protect her children, and the clarity to never settle for crumbs of attention again. Because some gifts are bigger than Christmas. Some choices define generations. And in this story, the silence of a father has spoken louder than any words ever could. Even after all of this, Mykelti hasn't stopped paying attention. She watches. She notices. She understands the pattern. Kody's absence isn't random. It's deliberate. Every missed call, every ignored message, every milestone he skipped, all choices. And choices have consequences. She's no longer the little girl hoping her father will show up. She's a mother, a protector. She sees how David Woolley grandparents her children. She sees the love, the presence, the consistency, and she compares it to her own father, who exists more in name than in action. It's not just about gifts or visits anymore. It's about what her children deserve, real relationships, not half efforts. Kody has prioritized Robin, her comfort, her household, over the very kids he brought into the world. Every time. Mykelti has made her position clear. No crumbs, no selective affection, no reconciliation on terms that only suit him. She wants the whole family to be acknowledged, or nothing. If he can't do that, then she protects herself and her children. The reality is harsh. The years missed, the memories skipped, the milestones ignored, they can't be recovered. Avalon will remember who was there for her and who wasn't. The twins will grow up learning that love isn't something earned by hoping someone else will show up. It's something demonstrated consistently. Yet there's a small, stubborn part of hope left. She still texts occasionally. She still wonders if maybe, just maybe, her father could change. But she knows better than to rely on it. She has seen the patterns repeat too many times. She has learned the hard truth. Words on TV, confessions, and public apologies are not enough when they don't translate into action behind the scenes. This is the point where heartbreak meets clarity. She has seen the difference between love that is present and love that is performative. She has set boundaries. She has protected her children. She refuses to be part of a cycle of disappointment any longer. Kody's choices have already shaped the family's reality. The consequences are clear: grandchildren who don't know him, a daughter who no longer trusts his promises, and a family fractured by absence and selective love. And somewhere, quietly, Mykelti is still building her own legacy, one where her children know what it means to be present, to show up, to love without conditions. She is creating the family she wishes she had always received. Because sometimes the strongest love is the love you protect for your own children, not the one you chase from someone who refuses to meet you halfway.